Not that kind of running and gunning. Run and gun filmmaking.
Oh. That makes a lot more sense considering the general theme of this channel.
New, interesting, random, tall guy films.
There are lots of reasons for using a run and gun style of filmmaking. You might have limited time to shoot, not have permission to use locations where you're shooting, or plenty of other reasons. Regardless of why you might use the run and gun style, the principles of what to do remain the same. Before we get into the more entertaining aspects of run and gun, I want to clear up a few legal things, at least for my fellow filmmakers here in the US. Knowing these legalities is useful for all types of video production, but they apply most strongly to run and gun filmmakers. To start off with, you have the right to film in any public area, that is, land owned by the government. This could include everything from parks to sidewalks to public buildings. Unless there is a specific local ordinance prohibiting filming, you have the right to film. It's worth noting that just because you can film doesn't mean you can do other things related to filming. If you're causing a disturbance, endangering anyone, or breaking any other local law, you're in trouble whether you're filming or not. If you're on private property, you typically have the right to film if the public has access to the property, but there is nothing stopping the owner of the property from kicking you off. Property owners can't confiscate any equipment or data though, so you can keep anything you've shot and use it even if you get kicked off of the property. When it comes to filming people, if they're in a public area, you have full right to film them, unless an individual has a reasonable expectation of privacy. For example, they're in a bathroom, you can film them. The only thing you can't do with footage of individuals is to portray them in a negative fashion without their permission. This does not apply if an individual is not identifiable, which is why many filmmakers will blur faces. There are many more intricacies to these general legal guidelines, but those are the basics. If you have more detailed concerns, it's best to consult an attorney specializing in an area relevant to what you're doing. Another note is that having the legal right to do something doesn't stop someone from suing you. Even if you win a lawsuit, you can still lose through the cost of legal fees and potential restrictions placed on your work while the lawsuit is in progress. That's why it's almost always best to get written permission for any people or locations you film. Many film festivals and distributors will also require you to provide signed releases for people and locations in order to protect themselves from lawsuit. Okay, now we're past boring legalities. Now it's time to actually talk about the filmmaking part of run and gun filmmaking. There's really two things you need to consider when preparing for a run and gun shoot: the equipment and the people. Let's start with the equipment. The point of run and gun is to be lightweight and require minimal setup. Sometimes you also want to be discreet, meaning avoiding large and expensive looking equipment that will attract attention. At the most basic setup, you would have something like a mirrorless or a DSLR form factor camera with a shotgun microphone mounted on the camera. A good idea if you want better audio is to get a separate audio engineer with an audio recorder and a boom pole. This will definitely be way more conspicuous than a single camera, but it's a very good idea if you plan on recording any kind of dialogue. Whatever you shoot with, make sure you're considering both the weight, size, and ergonomics when making equipment decisions. Like equipment, the fewer people the better. A run and gun style shoot I did last week consisted of only myself and one actor, making it a very efficient shoot. The audio I was recording wasn't very important, so I was happy with a camera-mounted microphone. If I needed better audio, I could have had a dedicated sound recorder with me. Having a dedicated cinematographer can also be helpful. I would rarely recommend having more than 3 or 4 crew members on a run and gun style shoot though, as each added crew member slows down the filming significantly. In terms of actors, you're largely limited by what your story dictates, but don't rule out partially rewriting or restructuring a scene to give more flexibility on set. Just make sure you aren't making any excessive sacrifices due to technical limitations. Changing the script should always be a last resort. The most important thing to consider when choosing to shoot run and gun style is planning. The more planning you do in advance, the better off you'll be on set. Having things like shot lists, a schedule, and making sure everyone on set is in the know goes a long way to making a smooth shoot. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If not, feel free to hit the dislike button. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and if you want to see more videos about the making of my next short film, Kansas Sunshine, please subscribe.